And by the way, I mean, if we compare this to like ChatGPT, Walmart put their Sparky chatbot live in there. But that is due to these kind of problems because, the advantage for Walmart of having Sparky in there.
First party data.
Exactly. Sparky knows Walmart's inventory data. Sparky knows a person's loyalty or member pricing, whatever.
These things will matter. These details, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I want this consistency in my purchasing journey.
Yeah.
And I think, again, a sign that Google is doubling down on that, and probably they are out executing all the others.
Welcome to another episode of Growing Ecommerce. I am one of your hosts, Mike, and with me, as always,
Chris,
we're on a bit of a tight time schedule today due to my bad planning.
You're very great. I'm very grateful that you are that open, because I would be motivated to do at least 1 hour, but it will be a rather quick one today.
Yeah. Well, we've got some.
But the topic is hot.
Exactly. We're talking about UCP again,
Yes.
Google's Universal Commerce Protocol.
Yes.
So, we want to approach this from two angles. So, a couple of updates to UCP, and also thinking through about what's in it for Google
Why they do this.
Exactly. We talked last episode about how we don't want to be the guys who just shit on OpenAI all the time. We'd actually like them to succeed. And I think you see why when we talk about the effects of Google being successful here.
Yes. I co-sign that. And I just can tell you again that UCP and all the implications, which might be real, or which might be only some noise, I still can tell you that it's a massively a big topic for all the online retailers I talked to. It seems like there's so much questions out there, and it's not about the questions which can't be answered yet, but it's also about the questions no one knows to ask, right?
Yeah.
So I love that episode, even if it will be a quick one, because UCP is really something that people want to know more about.
Yeah, for sure.
So Mike, man,
let's get into it.
Share your wisdom with us.
Wisdom. Wisdom. I don't know about that, but
facts.
I'll share what I have. Yeah. I mean, actually, I wanted to. So, I think there's been a perception that nothing has happened with UCP since it was announced.
That's wrong.
And I mean, this is somehow true, somehow not. But updates were announced over a month ago at this point by the time we're airing this episode. And I just want to highlight those a little bit. So there were 3 big updates that were announced and then a fourth thing as well. I just feel like these were things that were always hinted at as being on the horizon.
They were on the roadmap.
Yeah, so they don't feel that they're not like groundbreaking new, but the things are going live.
Yep.
This is real. It's being built. It's progressing, and it's the typical thing of like, we live in this announcement-rich environment. Lots of press releases, tweets from founders.
A lot of noise.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise because sometimes it feels like things are changing constantly, and then sometimes it feels like things aren't changing at all, and it's somewhere in the middle. But so updates to UCP. Google announced 3 core updates. First off, it's pretty basic, but there it is. It's cart building.
Yes.
Cart
No surprise, but it's important.
Exactly. Well, it's one of the, if you remember, when we talked about the way UCP is built, it has these capabilities, which are like the core building blocks of it. And then it has things called extensions, which are, what they sound like. They're little add-ons. And carts, checkout, these are core building blocks. So in cart building, you can now save multiple items from a single store. Yeah.
Yes. It sounds basic.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, referencing back to OpenAI,
the
last time I checked, I think there was...
They hadn't made progress here and they dropped out.
Still are bound to one product, right?
Yeah. It was a single
product,
single item checkout. And, that will all make progress. But you can just kind of shop like normal, basically.
Which is good.
Yeah, because we talked about a couple episodes back about these bad conversion rates in these environments and stuff. They have to. The whole promise is that this will be better than e-commerce.
But we're not there yet. You
No.
can shop like normal.
Yeah, we're trying to get on par with e-commerce first. That's the first step.
Yes.
And the next one, again, sort of table stakes, but
Sell it.
Sell it. Yeah, sell it like I'm Sam Altman.
Sell me this pen.
No, what I like about Google, by the way, is they are very, compared to others, they are very no hype about this stuff. They're very matter of fact. But catalog capability. So again, this is a capability, a core function, and it is the ability to reference your product catalog for details. In other words, your feed, basically.
Yes.
And this is stuff we've talked about on here as well. How important feeds are going to be. How important these new things like conversational attributes.
Agentic layers, yes.
Yeah. This is where it all comes to play. Like the UCP, the architecture, the infrastructure that's being built, it needs to be able to talk to the feed in order for that to be valuable.
And the feed has to be as sharp as possible.
Yes.
And I think this, for me, this is more telling about, yes, the feed will be in the center. Also for your UCP, more or less related actions. But again, a basic feature, checkbox, ticked, great.
Exactly. And this, if you jump in the documentation, this gets into stuff like about product variants, inventory, pricing and price ranges. Yeah. So these are, in many cases, this would be stuff that on a conventional e-commerce website would be handled with product filters, for example, or you'd have a layer in there to show variants, so that that could all be built into the landing page. The variants could be shared in there or whatever. So, and then the next thing is identity linking. Yes, and this is another.
That's interesting.
Yeah, this is an existing. It's not a new capability. It's an existing capability, but it's coming live, and it's very interesting, especially here in Europe.
Yes, here in Europe, because there will be, I think, tighter rules with regards to your identity.
Safe to say,
Mike, right?
Yeah.
But give us some perspective on it. What's the advantage of this feature for me as an online retailer?
Yeah, well, I mean, the use case here. Well, we can debate if it's an advantage to you or not, but
it's certainly an advantage for Google.
The use case here would be that this person is logged into Google when they're in AI mode, and then they can end up having an experience similar to if they would be logged into your website. Because otherwise, imagine they're logged into your website, they have loyalty points or member prices.
I get the personalized price, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Anything like this, normally that would be broken. But with identity linking, the bridge exists, and so they can now have an equivalent experience as if they'd be on your website,
which I think is an advantage for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, it totally depends how you view it. Because if you're a brand and this is another distribution channel for you, like Amazon, and we talked recently about Allbirds, and you're not believing in the Bible of direct to consumer or whatever, then certainly an advantage. But if you're a retailer, there could have been an incentive for them to visit your website still.
Okay. From that perspective, you're right.
But it's we just don't know. Yeah.
But we can agree on probably the hypothesis that it's an advantage for the online shopper because it's a consistent purchasing experience. For the user experience, no, it's good that this is happening. Yes. Yeah. So a great feature. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We found an agreement, mate.
Let's
move forward.
Or we can disagree and commit Amazon style.
Yes.
No, but from Mr. Bezos. But so these things, none of it is quite new. It's stuff we expected, but it shows that stuff is happening. And by the way, I mean, maybe I'll just call out, like, if we compare this to right now on OpenAI or ChatGPT, Walmart put their Sparky chatbot live in there. We talked about this a few episodes ago. It's a little embarrassing in a way. You have to have a chatbot inside of a chatbot. But that is due to these kind of problems because, the advantage for Walmart of having Sparky in there.
First-party data.
Exactly. Sparky knows Walmart's inventory data. Sparky knows a person's loyalty or member pricing, whatever. And that's exactly the reasons why they do that.
And again, this is, I think, I mean, I think you're clearly in the UCP camp and not ACP camp.
Yes,
but
yes.
these things will matter. These details, right?
Yeah.
If I have my loyalty points and I have my shopping assistant does the thing for me, of course I want this consistency in my purchasing journey.
Yeah.
And I think again a sign that Google is doubling down on that, and probably they are out executing all the others.
Yes. Yeah.
Basic features, but it's progress, important progress.
Exactly. This is we said recently that ad networks can't be built overnight, and neither can a whole new way of shopping that's going to take on. Yeah. So, I mean, one thing here, before we just move on to the next topic, 6 months ago or something, I told you I was very bearish on agentic commerce. And I still am, but because I think that this is not, there are different kinds of ways of approaching this. And I would actually say that this is basically an evolution of headless commerce, which has been a trend for years. I feel like it's the kind of the logical endpoint of that, because, Google is still not going out and like browsing your website and clicking on stuff like that. This is basically a whole pipeline that has been built, and it is agentic in the sense that it has agency, it has your permission or authorization to do these things, but then it just moves through a series of pipelines, more or less, this new infrastructure that's being built. And I still contend that this is actually, to me, good. This is the way I would have wanted it. I was like, this, it will never be a scaled model that, these things are actually browsing websites for you or stuff like that. They've tried models like this, and it takes minutes to return to make a purchase. This stuff hasn't worked, and I don't think it will work. So I think this is the right direction that things are headed in. And on this model, it's what we're going to call agentic, and I do think there's a future here.
The question of scope, we relate to agentic, but with that statement, I would fully agree.
Yeah, and I still think the idea of AI operating browsers for you and operating this stuff, everything that we've said in the past are huge security problems. There's all kinds of
and adoption risk. At the end of the day, we don't know yet if the consumer wants it like that.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it, this is the big question, the biggest one, and that's why I love this incremental approach.
Yeah.
If we might call it like this.
Yeah, step by step.
Step by step, and let's see how the market reacts. So I like the strategy.
Yeah. And Google has been, this is in some way something they've wanted for over a decade, because they had buy on Google since when was that, 2018, 19?
Certainly before 20. I think France, right, was the biggest market that tested it.
Yeah, in Europe here, and then in the US.
Before then, but in Europe, I think it was France.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely failed. I mean, let's face it.
And they had been working on different building blocks and things in this direction going back to probably like 2013 or something. But this has been a big reset for them, and I think something that I have to remember back in the days of buy on Google, Bill Reddy was in charge of commerce and payments at Google. And Bill Reddy was formerly the CEO of Venmo and Braintree. Then he was at PayPal for years. And I always thought that linking of commerce and payments in his role was very interesting. And the timing wasn't right then.
But it was a sign what to come.
Yes, but they've arrived at that place now.
Yes. And what I think, Mike, just to add my take on this, because we're always talking about the adoption risk on the consumer side. So I'm, as Christian Jamila, do I want a shopping assistant to make this purchasing journey end to end?
Yes.
That's one risk, but there's of course the risk, are they online? So the retailers, online retailers, the D2C players adopting that. And I think what I would say as of today, the timing is way better for Google now.
Yes.
And I think the risk of the adoption risk on the retail side is is significantly lower compared to 2018-19 when they failed with the buy on Google.
Exactly. Like I think that they
do it better now, right? In a smarter way.
Yeah, they have leverage now that they didn't have back then, because retailers didn't want that. Even on a zero commission model, they didn't want that.
Probably they don't want it today, but they have more leverage now. Yeah.
Yes.
Google. I'm talking about Google. Yeah.
Yeah, and this because they're dictating. They dictate how much, like how they're going to present AI mode relative to Google search, how often they're gonna, take a search that starts on Google, answer it with an AI overview, which then you click to expand, and suddenly you're actually inside AI mode, and then all of a sudden there's agentic checkout. They can play all kinds of games here.
All kinds of games.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, on a very human level, that the smartest C-level players out there, they are all driven by one big bias, which is FOMO.
Yeah.
And the fear of missing out, a new incremental demand happening on AI mode, in this agentic commerce sphere. That's what's on Google's side now. And that's why I think the adoption will be there on the retail side. The question is Mike Ryan adopting, and how deeply you're adopting this agentic commerce features? We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is afraid of losing traffic and ultimately losing revenue.
And market share.
If they're gonna lose the traffic to their website, then they need to offset that.
Yes.
And they understand that they have to do this. And so, I mean, it is a lot of leverage that Google has. And we talked previously on an episode about like the war of the standards. And so I just want to return to that a little bit and think about what are like the spoils of war here. What does Google stand to gain? If we look at UCP versus ACP and all this stuff. And we're just talking about that a bit, but to spell this out a little more, I'll actually start speaking of Bill Reddy and that title that he had, Commerce and Payments. There is an ecosystem lock-in that occurs here. And one way that happens, like on the consumer side, because this whole agentic checkout right now, it's powered by Google Pay. They'll take on more payment partners, I'm sure, but it's primarily powered by Google Pay in AI mode, and Google Wallet, anything that you have saved in your Google Wallet. So it's very much oriented around, Apple Pay is not in there.
No, for sure. By the way, I think they took a page out of Apple's lock-in strategy book.
Yeah.
Because it's just the lock-in if the payment of a huge chunk of your revenue at some point of time is within in the Google tech stack. It's a great move.
And I don't know for sure, but I don't think that there's some kind of a transaction fee play here, which I think that is a revenue stream for Apple Pay, but I think they just want to
lock the retail in.
Yeah, keep it all locked in, because it's just if everything's in Google services and Google's owned and operated, it's just this giant walled garden
And the bigger the leverage is, the easier it is to implement a transaction fee at some point of time. I mean, Google knows how to make money, so maybe it will happen. But from that perspective, that's why I think the war of standards is a huge one.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people realize how big this war actually will be. And Google is set up the right way.
Yes, for sure. And they also have two other big spoils of war here, and it's both of their main graphs, their audience graph and their so-called shopping graph, which is a product graph. These are, it's just a classic. Man, is there a word besides synergy? Because I hate that word so much.
Let's go for synergy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a self-reinforcing.
It's a 1 + 1 = 3 situation.
Exactly. Maybe it's a flywheel. I don't know, but it's a self-reinforcing loop here, because their audience graph and their product graph are both big assets and big beneficiaries as well. And just to spell this out, because I mean, we've also hinted toward this in the past, but like these are both types of knowledge graphs, and a knowledge graph is similar to, but also very different from like what a large language model is, because a knowledge graph is basically explicitly mapped data. So there are all these nodes and lines like relationships. You can picture this big cluster, just a classic network diagram of nodes and links between them. And this could be, for example, products get linked with all different kinds of things. And they also put in their review data, and every kind of data that they can get from the merchant center all feeds into here. So this is like structured, explicit, verified, traceable, all those things that a large language model is not.
Because everything is implicit somehow, right?
Yes, it's these mappings, and it's like they call it like it's vectorized or whatever. So it is similar in a way. There is this, there are all these connections, but it's all in the model weights and things like that. So it's very implicit. It has its own advantages, and this kind of creativity type thing can pop out of there, but also hallucinations, mistakes, and stuff like that. So these two things are much stronger together, and that's why Google pushes hard on like enriching feed attributes with conversational attributes. They want more of that structured, verified data in.
Grounded data, right?
It's grounded, yeah. And that grounds then the capabilities of the model. So these two things together can be extremely powerful.
And a question here, Mike, is this a unique position Google is in here, or so can the advantages Google have with the graphs, is this something, I don't know, OpenAI could create on their own? Or is this a very unique advantage with regards to
it? It can be replicated, but it is it's much more in the direction when you talk about moats. To me, this is much more in the direction of a technological moat, because Google's shopping graph is massive, and they've been building
and
it
has been growing, right?
And you have to think of how many merchant centers they have and all this stuff. Even, I mean, the master stroke was,
makes sense.
We're getting to time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I'll have to leave it at that. But and now Amazon also has a massive product graph, so they're not fully unique in this. But and the product graph also benefits from this AI environment, because in the past Google only knew about like the ad click and then the order value, but now they can have awareness of the items that were purchased, the price
because of the cart building.
Exactly, they know what the cart was, and so this helps massively to get this data into their product graph. Then the other area here, of course, is the audience graph, because again, this supports the personalization that they can offer and have a superior experience to others. But also that graph benefits then from this intent. People like their audience graph is largely based on like search history and things like that, but the data is much richer inside of an AI conversation, so they can get a lot more.
And I know you hate the word synergy, but that's probably the prototypical definition of a synergy. It's kind of a flywheel. And the capability to really personalize the result for me as an end consumer. You brought up the example of Walmart, having the chatbot within the chatbot. I think this will be a hell of a driver for adoption on that consumer side.
Sure.
So we can talk all day long about Google, but we are bullish on them, right?
The only thing that will stop them would be regulators.
Yes.
Because from a market dynamic, this is incredibly powerful what they're building. And OpenAI doesn't have an answer. Amazon might.
Yeah. But man, where the Europeans are good at? Regulating the shit out of an actually very, very good and positive thing. So we'll show Google. Just kidding. Let's see.
No one likes to laugh about EU regulation more than me. But on that note,
why that, by the way? We talked about that in another.
I think we're tight on time. Thanks everyone for joining us. We sadly have to wrap it up. But this has been another episode of Growing Ecommerce, brought to you as always by Smarter Ecommerce. If you want to learn more, you can visit smarter-ecommerce.com. And as always, we really appreciate if you give us a shout out on social media, click like on our YouTube videos, anything you can do to support us. It means a lot. Thank you. See you next time.
Enjoy the week.